Should America function as a sanctuary for Syrian refugees? In the wake of a series of terrorist attacks, domestic and abroad, the Boston Marathon bombings, Brussels, Paris, Orlando, many Americans are afraid. If you look at just about any newspaper today, or click on any news channel in your living room today, you'll see that the Syrian refugee crisis is hotly debated. The main point at issue is whether we should allow Syrian refugees into the United States. That's the question that many Americans are asking. Firstly, I would like to begin with why there's a Syrian refugee crisis in the first place. As I lay out this issue, it is essential that we understand the terms that are being used. Starting with what is a refugee. Per Merriam-Webster's dictionary, a refugee is one that flees, especially a person who flees to a foreign country or power to escape danger or persecution. The Syrian citizens are now refugees because they are homeless. It is important that we have a clear definition of home. A house is a building, but a home is a place that's familiar, comfortable, and is where you can relax. Our government is who decides who can travel here. Something that makes the Syrian refugee crisis so controversial is the nebulous uncertainty of whether radical Islam exists. We know terrorism exists. The 9/11 attacks are catastrophic examples of terrorism. According to a 2013 article from BBC News, jihad is one of the components of Islamism. In that same article, jihad is defined as jihad, or sacred struggle. For Islamists, is an obsession with violence, whether of a military, paramilitary, or terrorist nature. Their jihad aims to protect and expand the Islamic State. Extremists even dream of conquering the whole world for Islamism by militarily defeating the US, Europe, Israel, India, China, and Russia. What is the cause of this ideology? Because of the fall of man in the Garden of Eden, man has since had a sinful nature. Man was given a choice whether to follow the desires of that sinful nature or follow Christ and have life through the Spirit. Can this be altered or changed? You cannot change other people. Only God can do that. What kind of thing is the refugee crisis? It's something that is of global concern. Germany, Great Britain, France, and the US are all receiving refugees from Syria. What larger categories contain this thing? There are a lot of societal concerns, specifically regarding the United States. Taking refugees, especially considering the volume that we are, affects our society on every level. The economy, the medical community. How is this going to affect EMS, emergency medical services? Is the U.S. government going to provide refugees with medical care? Are they going to be allowed to obtain driver's licenses, food stamps, Social Security? Are they to pay taxes? Also, housing and urban development is effective. Where are all the refugees going to live once they arrive in the U.S.? Lastly, but not least, what about national security? We see the carnage of terrorism in the news every day. This crisis begs the answer to a lot of questions. Is it good or bad for us as a nation to accept refugees into the United States? In answering that question, let us remember the definition of home. Pliny the Elder once said, "Home is where the heart is." The Syrian refugees' hearts used to be for their country of Syria until President Assad and his regime broke them. In this situation, the question of why the people of Syria are refugees in the first place is imperative to understand. The answer to that question is one of tyranny and oppression. According to another BBC News article, President Assad has used chemical weapons on his own people. Mustard gas, chlorine gas are a couple of the suspected chemical weapons used. It is beyond the shadow of a doubt that they're being used because there is footage of the victims in Syria and their symptoms match the effects of those chemical weapons, cross-referenced with CDC. That is the Center for Disease Control based in the United States. What is the best course of action? The answer to that question is forthcoming. There's an inescapable concept that comes to mind when trying to find the answer to whether allowing Syrian refugees into our country is good or bad. According to God's Word, also known as the Holy Bible, Mark 16:15 through 18 states as follows. He said to them, "Go into all the world and preach the good news to all creation. Whoever believes and is baptized will be saved, but whoever does not believe will be condemned. And these signs will accompany those who believe. In my name they will drive out demons, they will speak in new tongues, they will pick up snakes with their hands, and when they drink deadly poison, it will not hurt them at all. They will place their hands on sick people, and they will get well." I propose that we let in as many Syrian refugees as our country can responsibly take. Also, I think we should have a responsible vetting process. It's important to realize that they are not all ISIS. This vetting system would, in theory, help identify and restrict those persons that do have ties to known terrorist organizations. In an effort to become more and more Christ-like, we should be compassionate to the Syrian people who are seeking refuge from government corruption and cruelty.